Hello everyone, I am the Halfwit Brit and this is Manor Lords and welcome to my camp. The camp that probably needs a more English sounding name, which I think we'll get around to at some point. So first off, we're going to zoom out just to give you guys an idea of what we're working with here. So we have a rich deposit of stone, which we only need for the church, I think. So that's going to be good for trade later on. A rich deposit of wild animals, which is without doubt probably the key thing you need straight away is a rich deposit of wild animals because of the clothing and the year-round food. Assuming you don't hunt them out of existence, but yes. So we have that. We also have a little bit of clay and a little bit of iron. So not too bad. If we zoom in, because I'm sure some of you will be curious where we stand with things like Emma. So we do have some slightly darker patches here and there, but it's mainly this lime green. I think we can build on that. I think it'll work. We just probably won't get quite as much as we'd want. Flax and barley is just no-go. It's completely red, so that's something for trade later on. Obviously, wherever Emma has fertility, rye most likely will as well. So if we decide to specialize into that later on, and it is too kind of deep into this, we could probably use it. And I do take the orchard quite often, so it is possible. I've never grown rye before, so that will be a first. Speaking of firsts, let's get some building done. So I'm going to chuck in a hunting camp just over here off the King's Road. It's free of charge. They don't cost anything to build other than some workers going over there and building those. And then I will go for a logging camp. Now, bearing in mind that this has the sort of limey green, I'm going to build it on this side and start to deforest this sort of area. I mean, we do have a little bit of a hill here. This might be quite nice for a church, actually. But let's first get started with this logging camp. And we will run a road from this to the hitching post. And then we'll run a road, I think, from the King's Road, and we'll connect that up. That's probably the most wonkiest road in the world, but it will do the job. And for those of you that are not aware of what the King's Road is, and I'm assuming most people do, if we go into the road tool and hold Alt, it's the road that runs through your town initially that you can't remove. And thankfully, we're at the edge of the map. So from a trade perspective, as you can see, here's the little trade point. If we decide to trade, they don't have to go very far. So hopefully that will bring us some money in pretty quickly. Let's chuck that up to the highest priority. The next thing I'm going to do is put a sawmill here. Is that sawmill or saw pit? Saw pit. There we go. Getting my games mixed up. My goodness, they built that quick. I think the maximum here is 40, so we'll chuck that up to 20. I'm not going to put anyone in here just yet, simply because the generic storage is not very big. So once that fills up, they'll have nowhere else to put the hides, and we already have goods just sat around on the floor here. Yeah, there. So we probably need to also consider a storehouse, and I'll probably put this right next door. It makes a little bit of sense. And then I guess a granary, because there's meat here, so we'll put that in. I will most likely put a marketplace in this area as well. I just want to double check this is connected. I don't think it was. I'll really have to have a good think about where I'm going to put my market, because obviously the berries being here, the meat being over this side, and the granary being here, it's sort of, I want a balance. I don't want people having to travel too far to fill the marketplaces. And in the long run, you want your workers of the granary and the storehouse working the markets. And there we go. Logging camp is up. I will chuck 2 people in there straight away. We'll limit their work area, but only because I want them to work over this side. So I'm not limiting them per se. I just don't want them taking the trees on this side. I absolutely love just watching these buildings come together. A lot of games do it in different ways, but I'm quite satisfied with the way they do it in this game. I really do like it. So you're working, that's fine. We will need another ox. Now they cost 20 and we have 50. Okay, our granary and storehouse are both up and running. I'm just going to chuck a person in the storehouse, and that should say a person, it's a family, isn't it? I keep forgetting that. So that family should come out and collect these supplies here. And once they've done that, I will unassign them because we don't need them in there initially. So we have a few problems. We have a generic storage full. We have homelessness, obviously, because we've got no houses, and exposed goods. As you can see, it does highlight. I can't do two things at once, but it does put up a little square above the area to let you know. I think the generic storage being full is, I think this is a bug. It's 1 of 1, which is fine, which is where it sort of needs to be. They need a log in there to do their sort of work, but I think there's a little bit of a glitch there, but not a massive problem. Do we leave this here? I think we will. So actually, no. Let's move it a little bit closer. I know I'm being pedantic, it's right next door, but once we've done that, we will upgrade it and we will buy another ox. Okay, the next port of call is the Burgage plot because our 5 families need somewhere to live, and as you can see, our approval rating is not in a great place. I will most likely have back gardens on these for carrots, so just got to bear that in mind for the size. So let's reduce this down. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's enough for 6 families. I think those gardens are of a reasonable size, so we will go with that. Okay, our hitching post has been moved. The next step is to upgrade it, and yeah, it's already on very high, because I definitely want another ox. I think this Lawrence is the name of this ox. We will probably assign it to the logging camp. How are we doing for logs? You only have 6, so that's not. I say logs, it's called timber. Same thing, I guess you know what I'm referring to. But we will assign 1 to this later on. I'm most likely going to trade some of the planks later on, just for a little bit of money. It's a nice early easy game thing to trade, so this is where I have to be careful with the cash. And obviously another ox will cost me some money. So just while I think about that, because I will forget, let's get a trade post in. Yeah, that will do. Perfect. Okay, our hitching post is now a small stable. So what we will go ahead and do, if it allows me to click on it, perfect, is order another ox. So that costs us 20. So I just need to be mindful for the trade post as well, because we will need that. So please someone remind me not to buy carrots or chickens straight away, because it's going to happen. So food 2 months, fuel no consumption currently. Do we have anyone spare? We do. Okay, so let's chuck someone in the hunting lodge. Let's get that done. We will also start to think about the firewood as well. Woodcutter's lodge, here we go. And we will just chuck it here. It's all in the same area, albeit I'm probably going to build some houses here later on, but we'll probably replant some of these forests. And we have our first house. So, you know, this game is beautiful. I'm going to keep saying this over and over again, but it is such a beautiful game. However, the work is not complete. We need to expand the living area so we can get another family in this same place. And that only takes 2 logs, so why not? Hopefully that will happen pretty quickly. How are we doing in the saw pit here? Our ox is doing its job. Aha, we have 2. So we have Heinz and Lawrence. Or is it Fritz? I don't know if that was the person guiding the ox there, possibly. But we will assign one of the oxes permanently to the logging camp, because it will just speed up the amount of logs that we're getting. And the other ox, whichever one it may be, will just be assigned to the buildings. And it looks like we have a trader passing by our little encampment here. He's got everything but the kitchen sink on his back by the looks of it. But we haven't got trade post up and running yet. It is being constructed. Wow, look at that. Just the attention to detail is absolutely staggering. I love it. Anyway, all our houses are up and running. We're just doing the extension to this burgage plot here, which will give us a space for 1 extra family, though with our approval being what it's at, we're probably not going to get one anytime soon. We have enough wood, or should I say firewood, for 5 months and food for 3 months, and we're in May. How are we doing with the animals? 40 of 40. Do we not have anyone in here? Oh, we do. Okay. So there is some meat in the pantry there. I'll probably need to assign someone into the storehouse and the granary at some point to come and collect that stuff. But as we only have 1 spare family right now, that's not going to happen. So just looking at it, we currently have 58 planks, and albeit I'm going to trade some of those, I think we'll drop a person out of here for the moment. And we will chuck them in the storehouse, and they will go in here and collect the hides or pelts. They're called hides. There we go. Once they've done that, I will chuck them in the granary and also take the food from there. We have our trade post. Here we go. So we want to trade some planks. I was about to say logs. So we want to export these. What we're going to get for that? We're going to get 2 2 gold, 2 silver. And that's going to cost me 7. Okay, so let's get that going. Perfect. So our current surplus is 58. So I want to make sure that we've got around 20. Okay, so we have food covered. We have firewood almost covered. We're just missing some water and also marketplace. So we will do a small marketplace here. I don't like doing these too big because I feel like they just repeat themselves. So you'll get the same sort of stalls over and over. So we need enough. I think it's for about 3 or 4. What have I done there? There we go. That will probably work quite nicely actually. So let's go for that. Because you have clothing, firewood and food. I'm not sure if there's any others, but they generally just seem to duplicate, which then takes people away from other jobs. Okay, the Woodcutter's Lodge is up and running. So I will unassign someone from our logging camp, chuck them into the Woodcutter's Lodge, and as long as we have enough fuel to see us through winter, I'm more than happy with that. We'll take them out. We're not going to expand too quickly at this point, so we should be able to manage our food and fuel quite easily. How are we getting on in here? Okay, so the pantry's still got some food in, so we'll chuck a person in here. We can technically use the last family if we want to. The only problem there is we won't be able to build anything else, so we'll just have to keep rejigging people until we have enough families to cover the things we want to do. Ah, this weather makes me feel at home. I feel like all it ever does where I live is rain. So this is quite normal to me. I'm just sort of debating this this berry deposit here. I think we'll go for it. So let's bring a road round here. Now hopefully we we don't build on top of it. I've done that before and just wiped out the bushes. So there's quite a few here. So if we drop you there, is that on the road? It is. Perfect. We currently don't have anyone to go in there. But if this family here, look, have they set up? Oh, they set up a market. They have. And there we go. We have some wild animals and bread. Oh, no. Right. Is it from the granary? Is it the person here? No. I thought it'd be the person that was working in the granary. But they've also took... That's rather smart. But in a sense, not. Because I don't want this person or this family. Let's have a look what they're all doing. One's transporting. One's peddling. So that's the lady at the food stall. And one waiting. So basically the problem here now is they're not hunting. That is an issue. So how do we fix that? If I unassign and reassign, so that now is abandoned. You assume the person in the granary, and this is what you want in an ideal world, is the person in the granary or the people or families and the families in the storehouse to have these stalls, because otherwise they won't necessarily be doing what you want them to do. Right, someone is assigned. There we go. Perfect. Okay, our forager hut is up and running. I'm going to chuck our last person in there. And we're just going to speed through a little bit of time just so they can collect some of that additional food. And then from there, we will move on to our next buildings. Oh, would you believe it? We've only literally just put this down and bandits have stolen some of our berries. Where are they? They could... It always says nearby, but they're probably a distance. Let's have a look. There we go. We'll deal with them later on. They will not be stealing our berries. We don't even have that many of them. There we go, 2. So that'll give us a second food source, which is always going to cheer people up. So if we click on the market, you don't need to physically click a stall, just the actual marketplace. So the variety of food is 100% because we have some bread, which we started with, some meat and some berries. Fuel, a little bit low, and clothes we currently don't have. So the next stage for clothing is going to be the tannery, which makes sense to sort of have nearby. I think in reality, I think these, I don't know if they smell, but in previous games that I've played, I'm pretty sure they have a negative effect if they're near housing, but that doesn't happen in Manor Lords, at least not yet, because there is a smell thing coming up. It says here, work in progress, and also fire hazard. So there's obviously other things coming. So in later versions of the game, this may be an issue. And as it did state there, we have no families to currently work that. So let's just see. We have 8 months of fuel and 8 months of food as it stands. Okay. So that will be enough for the time being to take us a little bit further into next year. So we'll take someone out of the woodcutter's lodge. How are we doing for timber? We have quite a few still. And the storage is also full. So let's take someone out of there because we're currently not using that apart from building. And we're not building anything either. I will leave someone in the forager's hut because obviously we've only got a certain amount of time to grow those. I will chuck a family in there. Perfect. Which leaves me with the one family to do the building. And we're at 51%. There we go. We've finally made them happy. Oh, 52. Even better. And the more that happens, the more people will move in over a period of time. So the higher the approval, the better. I think it has to be above 50%. Okay, now we've assigned someone to the trading post. They've brought some planks into here. So 37. So hopefully next time a trader comes by, in fact, there is the trader, but where are they in relation to us? Okay, they're leaving. So we missed them, but that's fine. They will be back. Oh, there we go. We just got some money. Perfect. There's only 2, but I'll take it. Anything's better than nothing. And we'll probably put chickens in first, actually. Which one should we go for? I think we may do this one. But we don't have anyone currently living there, so maybe that's not such a good idea. Right, yeah, we'll go for this one. There we are. So that will give us another food source. Obviously, our bread is going to run out shortly. Actually, we're not too bad, but it will run out, and we have no way currently of making it anymore. This land here and across here, I may turn into farmland as we progress. It definitely makes sense because it does have that sort of that light green color. Not perfect, but it's better than red or orange. So we'll probably reserve that land. I may even move the log cutting camp. Log cut. Wow, that was hard to say. I'll just say log camp over here just to remove some of these trees. I may keep them just for aesthetic purposes, but I'll just remove a couple here because we know these bushes, these berry bushes are sort of in this area, so we shouldn't damage that in any sense. Okay, our burgage plot has been built. Perfect. So we have another one ready to go. The next thing I want to think about is the church. We have everything we need to build that, and that is definitely going to increase our influence. Now, I was debating building it up here, but later on down the line, we will be building our manor. Because it's slightly higher up, I think we may put the manor there. And as we need the church now, I feel like I want the church a little bit closer. So let's just have a quick think about this. They've got the market here. Probably going to have a few more houses in this area as well. So let me just double check the fertility again because I have a memory like a sieve. Okay, yeah, so there's definitely no fertility here for growing anything. It's a little bit over this side, so we could probably build some houses this way. So if I shoot a road, I always push the C key building a road. Now C brings up the construction menu, and R brings up the road menu, but I always push the wrong button. It's becoming quite an annoying habit of mine. But I digress. So we'll put the church, let's think. I like this little crossroady sort of thing here. So maybe, yeah, we'll build it about there. We will chuck a road in. I think, as you can see, there's little roads sort of going out either way. So you can build a road all the way around. And if you hold control and scroll your wheel, whoop, you can straighten the road. Because sometimes you get these weird sort of kinks in it. So there we go. Perfect. Honestly, I can't wait for more decorative stuff. And I'm just going to say this over and over because I'll be looking at a little spot like this and just thinking, you could have a signpost, a lantern and some bushes, some fence. And that's just how my brain works, and you'll see more of that as time goes by. I just can't help myself. I get carried away. I'll spend hours placing bushes in games. It really is a bad habit of mine. Anyway, let's get this church built and see if that will increase our approval a little bit more and we can get some more families. Okay, as it continues to rain, I think, as soon as we have a little bit more money, I think we will drop some vegetables into this garden. Like I said previously, you can do a lot bigger, and I probably will later on, but I just want to get a small supply coming through. Obviously, we're in July, so what does that say down there? Crops grow, possible droughts. So I doubt this will grow this year, but it's there ready for next year. We do have quite a bit of food as it stands. 22 months, my goodness. Just got to keep an eye on our planks here. We currently have 22 in here. I said that I wanted a minimum of 20. So basically we're running out of things to trade. Now, how are we doing for timber? We have 22 currently. We have a spare person. So I'm tempted just to chuck someone else in. And if we do run out of logs or timber, trees, we could just move the people around a little bit more. We're now at 54% approval. As soon as this church comes in, I think we'll be in a really good place. I was just sat here happily watching the church being built, and I saw that we have a new family moving in. So we have an extra pair of hands, which is actually good timing. I think we removed someone from the forager's hut because there was nothing for them to forage. So we'll chuck an extra person in a logging camp just to build up our timber, because we're back on the planks again. And there is our church. Absolutely fantastic. I don't believe we need to put anybody actually in here as it stands. I think you only need them when you need somebody to be buried, which is a little bit strange. But people will just seemingly go to church. No problems at all. And we have some chickens. And they're currently ploughing for their vegetables as well, which is fantastic. I think because we've got 18 months of food, which is ridiculous considering, I think we'll take the family out of the hunting camp and we will relocate them to the woodcutter's lodge, simply because we've got 18 months of food. That's a lot, albeit we're going to expand and we're going to have more mouths to feed, and that will drop. But for the time being, we're in a good spot. But I'd like the fuel to be around 12 months. I think it's just a little bit safer. I can already see the family's decided, we'll open up a market stall and sell some firewood. But that's namely because there's nobody in here. So the next family that moves in, I will most likely drop them in there, just so they'll go out and collect the various goods. And then when we unassign and reassign a family, they shouldn't go and open a market stall. At least I don't believe they will. But we have pretty much everything we need for the start of the game. We could do with a few more burgage plots now, ready for the next people, but this is the basic setup that you need. And I feel that the more compact it sort of is initially, especially when it comes to food, the granary, your market, and then obviously your houses, that the more efficient and easier everything seems to be. It's quite tempting to spread things out, and there's nothing wrong with that, but things will just take a little bit longer. As time goes by, I'll definitely kind of build a little bit more organically, but I just sort of like to squish these things together to get things working as efficiently as possible. We're doing not too bad for money considering it's the beginning of the game, so I'm probably going to build some more burgage plots with a bigger back garden so we can get some more vegetables. This will do nicely for the moment, but in the long run it's certainly not going to be enough. We're doing fine with berries and meat, but I would like to expand that a little bit further. And obviously we will get some eggs from here as well, which will be great. So let me have a quick look. I don't think they're in here currently. No, we don't have any. We also need to think about wheat, but I'll probably look at that next year, or start to build it ready for the year after. What I'm really interested in is getting the orchard. So for that, what do we need? We need another burgage plot of level 1 or higher, because orchards take time to bear fruit, quite literally. Okay, I'm just trying to figure out exactly where I'd like to put the next bunch of houses. I think we'll build them up here. So I'm going to run a road off here, straight up. Beautiful. And I might put some houses here, because what I'm thinking is I like the idea of the orchard sort of being behind the church. So if we can do a reasonable size plot here, let's see, that's going to hook to that. Yeah, we'll do it like that. And if we shrink this down, I just want one house. Well, I say one house. It's going to have the additional house. I think that's not a bad size. I think we'll go for that, and this can be our orchard. So when we're looking through like this later on, we'll just see all these nice apple trees behind here. And I don't know, I just like the idea of that. I'm trying not to think too aesthetically, but unfortunately that's where my brain defaults to, and that's something I'll probably do quite a lot. Is I'll just come down occasionally and sort of have a look and think, how does this look, how does this feel? Because you can zoom in quite far. In fact, you can zoom in very far. I always forget about this tool, but you don't realize really how beautiful this game looks until you come down to this sort of view. Or even how your town looks. I mean, just as we creep around from this tree here. Good morning. You've got your church there. And I think those apple trees, when they grow, will look absolutely perfect behind that church. Call me sad. But it's just something that I like the idea of. Anyway, I think I'm going to leave this episode right here. If you've enjoyed what you've seen, please give me a like and a subscribe. Always happy to have some comments down below. If you've got any tips or if I've done something you think is wrong, I'm always up for a bit of a debate. I'm going to follow this game probably for quite some time, and I will obviously follow any updates that they bring out, and I will cover those as well. But until next time, take care.